Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be doing an in-depth Q&A all about living with type 1 diabetes and being a diabetic cabin crew. So thanks to everyone who messaged me on TikTok. Oh look, you can see my vision board. So everyone who messaged me on TikTok, you're all incredible, you're all amazing. I feel very, very lucky to have your questions and for you to trust me with answering them. If I had had this before I started with BA, I feel like I would have felt a lot more comfortable, I would have had a lot more knowledge and everything regarding life in general, living with type 1 diabetes, being crew, and just, yeah, I feel like it's not talked about enough. So let's dive right into it. Got some amazing questions from incredible people, so thank you everyone for sending them to me. So the first question is, how was the process of becoming a flight attendant cabin crew with diabetes? Pretty simple. I can't speak on behalf of all airlines, but I can speak on behalf of the airline I work for. It was pretty simple. My medical was just explained to me that it would be every year rather than 5 yearly. And you know, they would just need certain questions they need me to answer and certain things like that. So yeah, it was simple in the respect of they explained everything to me. When I did my swimming and everything, they were very understanding that my phone would beep because I'd be away from it, or that I might need to take 2 minutes out and just check my sugars, because that's why we have survival kits. That's why, you know, there are a lot of precautions in place, but there are a lot of things that are there to help us as well. Really simple, medical yearly. They spoke to my consultant, they had a letter from him. That sometimes it depends on your consultant. My consultant is so on the ball that he's like, absolutely, Verity, whatever you say. Here you go. How do you manage your life when being a flight attendant with diabetes? Pretty simple. I stick to the normal sort of routine. I'm pretty organised in some respects. I always make sure I carry, this is my diabetic emergency survival kit. This is in my topper at all times. It's easily accessible for everyone. Inside is paracetamol, ibuprofen, ketone strips, a glucometer, a Dexcom, carbohydrates, hypo treatments, extra needles, extra insulin, Traceba, a Dexcom sticker, instructions of what to do, glucogel, yeah, that is everything that's in there. Is everything that everyone can use with my permission. There is a letter in there with everything that you need to do, and that is basically, I communicate with flight crew, I communicate with in-flight managers, in-flight leads, and let them know where it is, and if they ever need it, it's there with some instructions in. Not that they should need it, because I should be able to deal with it myself, but it's there as a worst case scenario. Rather than eating breakfast, lunch and dinner, I eat when I'm hungry. That works for me, it works for my sugars, because you could be a -8 hour time difference here and then a +9 hour time difference there in the space of 4 days. So I eat when I'm hungry. I always make sure I have something to eat. I still go out, I still drink and party like crew does. I just am aware of my sugars, take my insulin, keep an eye on my bloods with my Dexcom, and you know, hypo treatments, drink lots of water, always keep hydrated. If I feel it's too much, then I leave and I go home. Well, I don't go home, I go back to my room. But I just, you know, you're with people who become your home for the next however many days you're away. So it's one of those things where you become like a little family, and people are very understanding. So like normal, I just pretend my life is here, there and everywhere for however many days I'm away. how can you manage your diabetes in flight? So in flight is probably where I find it pretty tough sometimes. I'm still on injections, so for me, if I'm on second break, then I won't eat until first breakers have gone, because if call bells go or anything, then I'll go and answer them rather than injecting myself, running myself into a hypo because I haven't had a chance to eat. If I'm on first break, then it's insulin, food, break. Pretty simple. Second break is a bit harder. I prefer second break. So, you know, I always make sure that I've got hypo treatment in my pocket, in my apron or whatever, and insulin is always in the other pocket, so we've got one or the other. And my phone is always on me. I check my bloods before doors to automatic and cross-check, and I check my bloods before doors to manual and cross-check, because the CAA regulations, if I do something wrong in that time, like blow a slide, then it's, you know, it's actually on me and the airline, and I don't have 50 grand to pay to put a slide back in. So yeah, I just follow regulations and rules, and I put myself like a set process that I have to follow, that I stick to. Have you ever had problems in flight because of diabetes? I actually had a hypo on board at 40 minutes to landing back into London Heathrow. You know, I'd done a 10-hour flight. I had 40 minutes to go, and I needed the glucogel out of the doctor's box, and it was a big thing because I had to open the doctor's box. So now my consultant prescribed me glucagon and glucogel, and I carry those with me so that I don't end up in the same situation where my sugars dropped from 4 to, I think it was 1.9. But my in-flight manager communicated with the flight crew and was like, I've opened it, I've given it to Verity, and I just have to tell Medlink, because he trusted me and my decision making in those moments. But that's it so far, fingers crossed. So someone else has put HbA1c, is there a target range? When I first did mine, I explained to them that I was only 2 and a bit years into my diagnosis, so it's not perfect, it's going to be far from perfect. My consultant says that I'm fit to fly, he's happy for me to fly, he thinks it's a good thing, and he thinks it's the best thing for me, and they were very understanding. So my HbA1c was 14.1 when I first got my job, and then my next one had gone down, I think it was 10.9, and they were like, perfect, this is what we want to see that you are taking the time and the momentum to bring it down and to work on it. That's what they want to see, is they want to see that you're very aware of your HbA1c, you're very aware with bringing it down. But I think what people aren't concerned about as much is they'd rather see that your sugars are in range 80% of the time rather than your HbA1c. Your HbA1c is every 6 months or however many months you have it. It doesn't necessarily show the progress that you are making. So I would say no, personally. I think if you can explain your HbA1c, they're a lot more understanding. Yeah. Due to start the insulin pump in September, do you know if this will increase the chances of getting medical approval? Medical approval doesn't come from your devices. Sorry, my phone died. So yeah, medical devices don't say that you've got a higher chance of, they don't say you've got a higher chance of medical approval. They're just there, you know, to make your life easier. And whether you're on injections or the pump or whatever, as long as you are aware of how to use those devices, then they're so happy with that. What else? Ways to prepare, how to pass the medical, what would you say would be the best way to prepare? So, you know, know your own diabetes. Don't try and be this book smart, perfect diabetic, because it does not exist. My diabetes is totally different to Josh's diabetes. My diabetes is totally different to Nat's diabetes. Know your diabetes. For me, I wrote down 30 days of blood sugar readings. I took them from my Dexcom because I'd rather give them a full book where I could then annotate them and say, look, I took 2 extra units of insulin here, or I had flu, so I followed the sick day rules here, etc. Spoke about hypos. You know, my hypo awareness could be totally different to Josh's hypo awareness, but I made sure I personalized it, and I said, I'm not the perfect diabetic. This is my diabetes. This is how I deal with it, and it is not going to be to your book smart diabetes, because every day is different. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand that diabetes for everyone is so different. So my best way to prepare would probably be confident in yourself. Know that this is the condition you live with. They don't live with it. They don't know it the way you know it. So be confident with it, and you know, just explain that. Be like a strong, independent woman, strong, independent about it, and be like, this is my diabetes, it's not yours. So therefore there are going to be things that for you don't look quite right, but for me, that's normal. My consultant can explain that further. My consultant can explain that more in depth if you need him to, or if you need them to. My consultant, my diabetic team, backed me to the hills with everything that I said. So go in, have a phone call or a conversation with your diabetic team before you go into your medical, for them to be able to back you. They don't want you to fail. They want you to continue living your life, because diabetes can take so much away from you that they don't want it to take something else. If you fail it, try again. You know, try it again in a year's time. It's fine. Or 6 months. It's not that deep. And it feels shit, but it's not that deep. Make sure you have everything they need. I remember going to a lady and I was like, I haven't got a letter from my consultant. I went, it's COVID, like, it's basically COVID. I haven't seen my consultant since I was diagnosed, and I haven't had a chance to get a letter from him. And she was like, that's fine. The medical team then deferred me from going to uniform, but the lady that I was with, she was like, that's fine, go to uniform. So, you know, have this chat. If you've forgotten something, you know, say, I'll get it to you in 2 days' time. But what are the requirements for pre-flying? Are you required to manually test even if you have a CGM? No, you're not required to manually test if you have a CGM. For me, the rule is I always check my bloods before I do doors to automatic cross-check. I check them before the briefing starts, before I go through security, and before I get on board, and then I check them before doors to automatic and cross-check, and then I just check them as and when. Normally every half an hour to an hour I check them on board. That's our sort of requirements. Normally every half an hour, and then you kind of can see a pattern if something's going to happen. Do you feel flying affects your glucose levels with eating at different times regularly? I think I have always been I eat when I'm hungry rather than specific meal times. So for me, my body is quite used to, I've done hospitality for 11 years, I've done shifts for 11 years. My body is very used to eating at really, really random times. So I eat when I'm hungry, but I always make sure I eat something. If I report late, then I always have a good solid meal at home. If I report really early, then I have a coffee and make sure that I've got a packed lunch. Because I have celiac disease, it can be quite hard sometimes, so I always make sure I have a packed lunch in my topper, just in case. It's like standby as well. I always just make sure that I'm covered for standby. But luckily with standby, airport standby, you can pop to Marks and Spencer's that's just in arrivals, or you can, if you're home standby, then you're at home, you can eat. Yeah, so next question. So someone put, what happens when you have a hypo mid-flight? Mid-flight, you know, it could be anything between in the service, your break. So I will always deal with it. I'll always, if I have to come down from the bunks to treat my hypo, I'm like, oh, sorry guys, just having a hypo. And then I'll go back up. Just make sure you just keep communicating. If you have to sit out, you have to sit out. Like, it's not that deep, it's not that big of a deal. They'd rather you're safe, because at the end of the day you are there to help with everyone else's safety, so they need you to be safe first and foremost. Everyone is so chill, everyone is so fine. You never get penalised for it. If you have to take 5 minutes, you have to take 5 minutes. If you have to take half an hour, you have to take half an hour. No one is going to penalise you for it. Everyone's so chill. Like, I haven't had a bad experience. So working for my airline, I've had no bad experiences. Everyone understands that it is my disease rather than a disease. It is my chronic illness rather than just a chronic illness that's come out of a book. So everyone is so chill. Everyone is there for a good time. People care. You become a family. And that's what is very weird about crew, is you are this sort of family in the respect that this is your home for the next however many days. And everyone just wants everyone to fly there, fly back, be safe. So just enjoy it, and just do everything that you normally do, because all you're doing is living your normal life, just 38,000 feet in the air. And just enjoy it, enjoy the process of becoming. And yeah, so I hope that answers some of your questions. I probably digressed, so sorry. If you have any more, please let me know. I'll probably do one for down route and down route safety very shortly. But yeah, if you've got any more questions, please don't hesitate to pop me a message or comment below. But don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell all of your friends, and tell all of your cabin crew friends, or your diabetic friends, or your diabetic cabin crew friends, and come and join us as we travel the world. Bye.